And so one of the things that came to me through a yoga practice, but isn't specifically yoga, is a tension release practice. So once you're on your back, come into Shavasana, arms by your sides. And we were all sitting, so we're just going to take a moment to transition to being in a different state with our bodies. Take a couple deep breaths, preferably in through the nose and out through the nose. Letting your belly expand up and out. Feeling your torso press into the mat. So I've heard this practice called a couple different things, progressive relaxation or tension release or different things like that. But we're gonna start with the hands. So normally our hands are extended. We're gonna turn palms up so that we can do this practice. And for me, I like this practice in terms of thinking about letting go. So when we cling, we're gonna cling with our hands. So we're gonna make a really tight fist and like squeeze it in as tight as possible. We're gonna take an inhale. And then when you start to exhale, let the fists go and the hands totally relax and the exhale come out very slowly. Take a couple of breaths. Notice how the hands feel. We'll do that one more time with the hands. So when you're ready to inhale, squeeze really tightly, slow inhale through the nose all the way to the top of the breath. And then exhale and let the hands release. Exhale it out. One more time, especially just noticing the difference that you feel between the clinging and between the letting go. So when you're ready, squeeze the fists, like so hard that maybe you shake a little bit. Inhale slowly to the very top of the breath. And then when you're ready, exhale and let it go. So the progressive part of this is that you can do this and progressively add body parts. So we're going to squeeze fists, squeeze biceps, so elbows are gonna bend in, and then maybe tighten shoulders, pulling the arms in towards the body. Try to keep the rest of the body relaxed. Keep breathing, and then when you're like really tight, take a deep inhale. And at the top of the top of the inhale, then let everything go. Breathe out slowly. Take a couple of breaths. Notice your hands, your arms, your shoulders. This feeling of letting go in the body. Letting go of that tension, letting go of the clinging, letting go of what you don't need anymore. And maybe it is something you feel like you need, so you're going to replace it with something different. So we're going to do that one more time. When you feel ready, squeeze your fists. You don't have to add the extra things, but it makes it more effective. Squeeze the biceps, so bend the elbows, bring the fists up towards the shoulders, and then squeeze the elbows in towards the body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze until you almost shake or actually shake. And then take a deep inhale. And at the top of the breath, start to exhale slowly and release it all. Take a few breaths, pausing. And then bend one knee, plant the sole of the foot, bend the other knee, plant the sole of the foot. Maybe walk the feet a little bit wider than the hips and gently rock the knees side to side. You can link it to your breath. What does it mean to let go? In the heart of the Buddha's teaching, Thich Nhat Hanh writes, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. If in our heart we cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. So rock your knees a couple more times. And then come to center. Pull the right knee into the chest. Let the left leg go down the mat. You can keep it bent if that feels better for your low back or for just stability. And then we're going to practice this, flow here. So when you're ready, pull the knee into the chest. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale and curl the head and the shoulders up towards the knee. Inhale, relax the head and the shoulders back down. Exhale, knee comes away from the body a bit. You can keep the hands on the knee or you can bring them to the thigh. Inhale, hug the knee back into the chest. Exhale, roll up, bringing the forehead towards the knee. Inhale, come back down to the mat. Exhale, knee moves away. Inhale, knee moves towards the bottom. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, float back to the mat. Exhale, knee moves away. Inhale, knee comes to chest. One more. Exhale, curl up towards the knee. Inhale, come back down to the mat. Exhale, knee moves away. Inhale, knee hugs in. Take the right hand out to a T if you have the right knee in. I think I said that. So same arm goes out to a T that the knee is pulled in. And then the other hand guides the knee across the body into a supine spinal twist. Keeping the shoulder, both shoulders grounded on the mat. Knee might float in the air. The knee might find the earth. It all depends on your body and what it's doing today. Take a couple of breaths here, just letting go. And as you exhale each time, think of each exhale as a mini letting go. Engage the core. Let the core bring the legs slowly back to center. Plant that foot on the mat. Take the other foot to meet it. Maybe a couple of knee rocks here between sides. Deep breaths. And then when you come back to center, the left knee, or whichever knee you haven't done yet, comes in, right leg extends down the mat. Take a deep inhale, pull that knee in if you have any more space to do so. Exhale, curl the head and shoulders up towards the knee. Inhale, lower back down. Exhale, knee moves away from the body. Inhale, knee moves back towards the body. Hug it in. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, come back to the mat. Exhale, knee moves away. Inhale, knee comes towards chest. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, return to the mat. Exhale, knee moves away. Inhale, come back in. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, return to the mat. Exhale, knee moves away. Inhale, knee comes back in. One last time. Exhale, curl up. Maybe hold the breath for a moment. And then when you feel ready, exhale, curl back down. Inhale, knee moves away. I think I got the breath wrong. Inhale, brings the knee back in. Sorry about that. And then if your left knee is in towards your chest, left arm goes out to a T, right hand guides the knee across the body. Supine spinal twist. Deep, relaxing breaths, acknowledging that your body might still be cold. So when we do this at the end of class, maybe you have more space than when you do it at the beginning of class. One more breath. And then instead of coming back to center, we're going to bring that left arm over to join us. Maybe curl that right knee in so that you're in fetal position. And then gently push yourself up to a seated position, coming Up onto the mat, crossing the legs, however is comfortable for you. And then once again, just noticing the shift in the fluid in your head, the shift in the fluid in the rest of your body, going from lying down to seated. Taking a couple breaths. Inhale, sweep the arms up, maybe lift the chin, gaze at the sky. Exhale, over to the right, side body stretch. Try to make sure that you're right in the center so you're not leaning forward with shoulder forward. Most of us are gonna not open the chest excessively. And then when you inhale next, come back to center. And exhale over to the left, keeping the right sits bone grounded. So both sits bones are there on the mat. When you next inhale, come back to center and then go at your own pace. So you can exhale and right away on the next inhale, come back to center, or you can hold for a breath. Whatever your body needs. If your body needs a little extra stretch, then you can hold for a breath. If your body needs a little extra movement, you can move one breath to one movement. To cling to anything, to not let go out of fear of the unknown, encourages inevitable pain and suffering. When we cling to an old emotion, an old pattern, or an old relationship, we encourage a deep-rooted sense of possessiveness, breeding the experience of isolation and separateness, which is the opposite of yoga's sacred essence of union. In our clinging, our grasping of old, unnecessary, and essentially dead experiences, we are not allowing ourselves the space and the freedom to experience something new, fresh, and alive. So when you finish the left side for the last time, then come back to center. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, reach forward. Wherever your body stops you, make sure you let the head dangle. So neck is relaxed, face is relaxed, the space between the eyebrows, the jaw, all relaxed. And just feel how your hips feel in this space. And then come out of it by walking your hands just slightly towards your body and pause. So you're just slightly higher than your edge. And I just want you to sway your shoulders side to side. So maybe one shoulder kind of dips towards that knee, hands stay planted, head stays loose and hanging. Just noticing the hips, noticing any other part of the body that has tightness. And then continue walking the hands towards the body, rolling up through the spine, and then finally lifting the chin. However you have your legs crossed, cross them the other way. So if your right leg is in front or on top, switch it to behind or underneath. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, come forward to wherever your body allows. Also acknowledging that this is your non-dominant side. So you might have less mobility here, and that is what it is. Just notice that. No judgment. You might feel a little bit tighter in this hip. That is also something to notice, but not judge. And then walk the hands just like one hand length towards the body. So you come away from your edge. And once again, sway the shoulders side to side. Head hangs heavy. Breath is steady in through the nose and out through the nose. And then walk the hands towards the body, rolling up through the spine. Chin stays tucked until the very last moment. We're gonna take the legs out in front of us, lean the hands back, and we're just gonna like shake the knees out a little bit. I call this the temper tantrum. I'm seeing it a little bit in my 2-year-old now. He's usually on his belly though. And then come back into it, pull the left leg in. So the sole of the foot can rest anywhere along the inside of the right leg. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, forward fold towards that foot. So if you cannot reach the foot, just bring the hands down to the shin or to the sides of the leg, wherever you will get extra support. And once again, hang the head heavy. So now moving from the hips down into the back line of the leg. Maybe you feel it in your hamstring. Maybe you feel it in your calf. Maybe you want to feel it somewhere else. You can try flexing and pointing the foot to change where you feel it. And when you feel that zing, that place where you're like, oh, that's where I need to stretch, though it doesn't feel as good as when I do something else, that's probably the place that you should stay. For most of us, that's going to be some sort of flexed foot. Couple more breaths. Try to relax the shoulders, relax the jaw. Even in our yoga poses, we don't want to cling, and we cling by tensing muscles. So try to relax the muscles. And then once again, walk the hands towards the body on either side of the leg maybe, and roll up through the back and switch sides. So left leg out, right leg is pulled in. Hips as much as possible are pointing towards the front still. And then this foot is as flexed as you think you might be able to endure. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, come forward. Let the hands meet the leg or the ground on either side of the leg. Whatever is best to give you some support. And then walk the hands towards the body, rolling up through the spine. Chin stays tucked until the very last minute. I like to extend the legs, maybe shake them out a little bit, and then swing them both over to one side and come up onto hands and knees. When you get there, let's just start with some cat-cows. So inhaling, bringing the belly towards the mat. Chin lifts. Exhaling, pulling the belly button up towards the spine. And then moving with that breath. Inhaling, chin, tailbone lift. Back arches, shoulders push away from the ears. Exhale, rounding into the back. And then make this cat-cow practice your own. If you know something like circular cat-cow, feel free to do that. My favorite is just in cow to gently wag the tail. And then in cat to also gently rock my hips side to side to feel a little bit different places. And people don't say this very often, but in cat-cow, you can hold cat or cow for a full breath before you transition to the next one. But just use that inhale or exhale to transition towards the next pose. And then when you're ready, so I'm gonna turn on my mat. And it's up to you whether you turn so that you are the long ways on your mat, because we're gonna stick a foot out to the side. And those of you that have been doing this with me for a bit, if you don't like the foot out, then feel free to keep it in. If you like the foot out or you've never done this before, go ahead and try it with the foot out, but we're gonna do thread the needle. So left foot goes out. Right arm inhales up towards the sky, and then exhales, threads underneath. So you come down to your shoulder and the side of the head. The reason that I like this with the extended leg, at least in my body right now, it gives me extra space. So I think pregnant people are always looking for extra space. But I can twist my upper body a lot more here with my leg extended than I can in traditional thread the needle. And then left arm can extend up to the sky. It can come overhead. It can wrap around into a half bind behind the back, or hand can stay planted in front of the face. Lots of choices. You can kind of play with them and figure out what feels best to you. And you can also get to this pose from traditional thread the needle. So if you're already twisted down, you can move that leg. I just think it's easier to get to when you move the leg before you come into the twist. Wherever your left hand is, bring that palm back in front of the face, plant it, push into that palm to bring yourself back up, and then bring that leg back in. Other leg, so right leg extends. I should have said this on the first side. Heel is in line with the knee, and then foot points forward as much as possible. And then left arm inhales, reaches to the sky. Exhale, thread underneath. Breathe. And then maybe play with that right hand wherever you want it to be. Lots of options. Breathing deeply. And then bring the right hand back in front of the face, plant the palm, push into that palm to bring yourself back up, and then bring that leg back in. I'm going to turn the other way. One more little stretch for the back legs. We're going to extend the right leg, tuck the toes, and plant. I'm going to slip because of my fuzzy socks. But tuck your toes onto your sticky mat and then reach back through the heels. So your hips might shift back a little bit. And breathe once again. You might feel this in different places. Leslie, be careful if your bad foot is back. Deep breaths. And then come back to neutral. You can lift that leg if you want to for a moment into half spinal balance. Also option to reach the left arm forward if the right leg is back. Pulling the belly into the spine. And then lower the hand if it was up and the knee back. And maybe widen the knees, bring the toes together and sit back into child's pose in between these two sides. Is it possible to actually let go of old and unnecessary emotions, feelings, habits, and people? And if so, how? Here are 4 practices to invite into your life if you are holding on to someone or something that no longer serves you, or maybe that you don't have a choice about. So we're not going to read all 4, but the first one is a parigraha, which we have talked about before. It's one of the yamas. So in the Yoga Sutras, we have a word to describe the practice of non-clinging, a parigraha. It can be defined as non-attachment, non-grasping, non-coveting, and non-hoarding. Most often this yama is discussed and practiced as pertaining to non-attachment or non-hoarding of physical/material objects. A parigraha can also be the practice of non-attachment to feelings, behaviors, patterns, and people. It is the practice of letting go of both physical and non-physical things that are old, unnecessary, and standing in our way of us experiencing deep freedom and therefore profound peace. Come back up to table. Realign knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Extend the left foot behind you, tuck the toes, ground those tucked toes into the mat, and then shift the hips back, pushing through the heel. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. If you're a person like me that likes to lock out joints, maybe put a little micro bend in your elbows. And breathe. Come back to neutral. Lift that left leg. Maybe lift the right arm. Really think about your core space, pulling that belly into the spine. Feel it engage. Gaze is down at the mat to help balance. Keep the breath steady and as long as possible. and then return the hand and knee to the mat, and once again, come into child's pose, or if you would prefer a down dog, that is also totally your choice. So this one I really like. The second practice they suggest is replacement therapy. Positive thoughts for negative thoughts. In Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there is a practice tool, a practical tool for letting go. Replacement therapy. When disturbed by negative thoughts, cultivate the opposite mental attitude. Replacing negative thoughts and feelings with positive thoughts and feelings, brilliant. Of course, easier said than done, but with diligent practice, totally doable. When you find yourself spinning around some old negative thought pattern, feelings of anger, resentment, disappointment, etc., simply, not simply, shift gears and think about something positive, happy, refreshing, and peaceful. Mantra works wonders for this practice of cultivating the opposite. In my life, I have been called to work with two different mantras. This is the author speaking. When I am out and about in my daily life, the Sanskrit mantra from Tibetan Buddhism, Om Mani Padme Hum, serves me well. This healing mantra helps me out of an inherently analytical and judgmental mind of separateness into a unifying heart mind of compassion and peace. At night, while in the process of falling asleep, the mantra So Hum, inhaling So, which means I am, and exhale Hum, which means that, is so very beneficial, especially during those nights when I am caught up in a cyclical pattern of thinking, planning, or worrying. Both of these mantras have been incredibly helpful in replacing negative thought patterns and emotions with positive ones. So I personally too use So Hum at night when I have a little 2-year-old who's still a nursling. He wakes me up in the middle of the night, and then sometimes I have trouble falling back asleep. Thank you, pregnancy. And so I do the So Hum mantra, which I really think is a breathing practice as well. If you're in down dog, go ahead and gently bring the knees back down to the mat. If you're in child's pose, come back up to table. Sit the hips off to one side, swing the legs around. And let's come back to lying on our back. So hum, I am that. So is, they say, is the sound of the inhale, and hum is the sound of the exhale. Let's cross our right leg onto our left thigh for figure 4. And so it's a really easy mantra to remember, so hum. And if you can't remember those words, then you can just breathe, and you're doing the mantra anyway. If you have space to do so, lift the left leg, maybe find something to hold on to pull that left leg in towards the body. And I think replacement therapy is a really good idea for the situation we are all in with this class ending. So for me, I am trying to find things to, ways to use this time that are joyful and beneficial to me and those around me, because we can't be here together. And so for you, I would hope that maybe you would replace it with something else that does the same thing as yoga for you. So maybe that is a different yoga. Maybe that is an online recorded class. Maybe that is, oh my gosh, you guys, I just found an app called Insight Timer, and it has live yoga classes for free all the time. And so maybe it's using something like that, where I know it's not as personal as a live, live and online class, and where I know you in person. Let's come out of that side of figure 4, uncross the legs, rock the knees side to side. But maybe you can find something to replace this hour of Sunday 3 to 4. So maybe it's a different type of yoga, and maybe you will find something in that yoga that I wouldn't have been able to offer you. Let's move to the other side. Or maybe it's a hike. Or maybe it's time spent Zooming with family. But I would definitely suggest that you try to find something that is a regular thing that you replace this with. And my first suggestion is, of course, yoga. But if you can't find yoga that works for you, replace it with something else that's going to bring happiness and wholeness to your being. So whether that's emotional or physical or both. And commit to something for the first month at least. And then maybe you love it so much that that's your new Sunday at 3 thing. And maybe you decide after 4 tries, like, that's not working, I'm gonna commit to something else for 4 more weeks. Couple deep breaths. And then let that leg float down if it was in the air, uncross. Any little motion that you need before Shavasana. And then once you get to Shavasana, we're gonna do that progressive relaxation, but we're gonna do what we did at the very end 2 times. So when you are ready, try to relax your entire body, including your jaw, your scalp, your forehead, those wrinkles or creases between the eyebrows, shoulders, neck, hips, and then just squeeze the fists, bend the elbows to engage the biceps, and then squeeze the elbows in towards the sides of the body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. When you're ready, take a deep inhale. Maybe even hold at the top of the breath. And then when you're ready, exhale and let everything gently go. One more time, and this will take us into our Shavasana practice. So squeeze the fists, bend the elbows, activate the biceps, squeeze the elbows in towards the body. It might tighten your shoulders a little bit. Squeeze, and then take a deep inhale. And then when you're ready, let it all go and sink into your Shavasana practice. And waking yourself up, wiggling fingers and toes. Gently and slowly waking the body and coming back to where you are in this present moment. Noticing the sights and sounds around you. And eventually coming back to a seated posture. And then when we get there, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, turn the palms away from each other and sweep them back down. Inhale, palms reach up towards the sky. Maybe chin lifts. Exhale, back down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. This time, bring the palms together and down. Exhale to heart center. The light within me sees and honors the light within each of you. Thank you so much for giving time today to be here for yourself. Namaste.